right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Northern Beaches #1 podcast. You're listening to The Whip. My name's Zach, here again with Elliot, and today we've got a very special guest, Sam Sonder. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. We've known each other a long time.
Man, no, it's. I was actually surprised when you reached out because I was looking at you guys' podcast when you sent the message. I'm like, I know this guy, and I was like, where do I know him? And I'm like, man, it was in a couple of years below me at
BP.
At Vale. BP represent.
So BP people are successful.
They are.
Or in prison. But
one or the other. Yeah. It's either one. It's
there's no in between.
Yeah.
But Sam, thank you for coming on. So Sam's the owner and co-founder of Sonder Men's Grooming and Blak Haircare. In 5 years, you've opened 4 stores: DY, Vale, Chatswood, and Neutral Bay. If you're in the areas, definitely check them out. They're all close to the B-line bus stops. You've created an educational platform and great content creation to create the next generation of barbers. You've been raised on the Northern Beaches, lived here your whole life.
Yes, in DY, born and raised.
Amazing. And you have a very fast 5-kilometre run pace of 4 minutes, 32 kilometres. I checked Strava this morning.
Mate, I would have
happy birthday for yesterday.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it, boys. Thank you so much for having me.
It's the most research we've ever done for a guest.
Oh, man, I feel special.
That spiel, I enjoyed that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was
Maybe
nice.
we should start doing that from here on. I actually...
Makes it look professional.
A few months, back in January, I had surgery and I was sitting on this couch that we're sitting on for like 3 weeks. And in it, I went into a massive YouTube hole. So at the moment, I'm actually kind of fanboying because I saw all the Sonder vlogs come on YouTube.
Nice. Yeah.
Somehow came on the algorithm and I've watched all of them. And I was like, man, these guys are sick. Went down, got a haircut from Ronnie. Shout out, legend.
Shout out, Ronnie Ron.
And so I was super keen to have you guys on because the story of Sonder, it's amazing. It's like what you guys have created, the community around it. It's been sick to watch from afar.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And it's amazing that you guys are able to see our YouTube content as well. I think it's something that we wanted to do for a very long time because I feel like no one actually sees what's going on in our day-to-day lives and what we're actually up to besides what we post on social media. And I think a lot of people actually appreciate it. And even though it's not to a massive scale or anything like that, there's a lot of guys that are in our community of getting their haircut or people we know that are like, man, we're able to see a lot more insight into what you guys actually do. And yeah, they appreciated it.
So take us back to the beginning. So you used to work at the place at the mall.
Yep.
Yeah. And then what made you go from there and being like, oh, I want to do my own thing? Because starting a business obviously sucks. So I guess why do you want to come up with an idea to not only do a barbershop, but like, and no offense to barbershops, but they're kind of, most of them are the same. They're like, usually most of the time the owners are, on that older side, have been doing it for generations. Yep. I guess, how did you decide, and what was the, influence for wanting to create like a popular barber studio and, be modern, have all these behind the scenes and stuff?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think to go even further back, I think someone like myself, I found cutting hair at a very young age. For me, I was very fortunate in the sense where I found something that I loved from since I was from maybe 15, 16. So going up in high school, even though I did finish year 12, I knew that was the direction I was going into. And for me, going straight into cutting hair, I went straight into the mall. As you guys know, I was at that shop. I think it's just natural progression in the sense where you get to a certain age. I think a lot of barbers, not everyone wants to open their own salon or, start their own business. But I think for me, my original plan before even Sonder came on was to jump on board with my current business owner in that shop. And I was actually looking to buy half that shop. And what ended up happening was it didn't actually go to the plan I was hoping for. I had the conversation with my previous employer and I said, look, I've been here for 5 or so years. This next year coming, this is when I want to invest into the shop and, be a partner, because I just thought, as my mindset was that's the natural progression. That's that next stage. It didn't go to how I necessarily planned, is because he didn't offer me to buy into that shop. He wanted to open a brand new shop with me in the same shopping center and pretty much start a new shop from scratch, which, straight away I'm thinking, wow, it's going to be, you're going to cut into about 50% of the revenue by opening a brand new shop. You're going to have 2 shops competing with each other with splitting half the market. It just didn't make so much sense to me. And I felt like as soon as I said no to that offer, he then offered that same thing to about 3 other people. So for me, I was just a bit caught by surprise because, I was very close to this person. I felt like in a way it was a blessing it was a blessing in disguise, because I'm glad it did happen. And Sonder, the way Sonder formed was actually through my business partner, Jai. Now, just to give you a backstory, me and Jai have known each other since we were 11 years old, and he was the actual one to get me the job at that barbershop that I was working at. And me and him, like we were honestly going through different paths. Like I was planning to invest into the business. The business I was working at. Jai was always working and traveling months on end. So he was like traveling the world, doing all these amazing things. And as that time happened where it didn't really work out for me inside the barbershop I was working in, I knew Jai was going to be coming back from overseas. I knew he wanted to open a shop. And I was curious because I wanted to hear what Jai was doing. I wanted to find out a bit more what he was doing. And we had this meeting down at DY Beach, and I told him that things weren't really going how I wanted to go, and I wanted to hear what he was doing. And he was a bit skeptical at the start because he didn't want to sway a decision on me and what I wanted to do. He wanted to for me to make my own decisions. And I go, look, man, I want you to tell me what you're doing because I want to know. I know that this isn't the right decision for me where I'm at now, just based on what I just went through, and I want to hear a bit more what you got to do and your plans. And he pretty much just told me it was funny. He had the, I don't know if you guys seen the barbershop, but you have the green wall, the Sonder green wall, like our trademark wall.
Yeah.
Jai already had that idea as he was in Cambodia and he saw the green wall in one of these shops. It was the plan. He goes, see how he had that idea. He had a couple words for a name of the barbershop that he had in his head. It was Sonder was one. It was minimal, and then another one was Illicit. There was 3 words, and he just pretty much unloaded what he wanted to do. And I just said to him, man, I love those ideas, and I love what you're doing. I feel like me and him have known each other for such a long time, and he's a very honest, integral person, and something I feel like aligns really well with myself. Something I've always appreciated is how honest he is and how upfront he is about how he does things. And yeah, I think I knew that was straight away someone I would want to be in business with, because I know there is trust, and I can trust him to do things even when I know, I'm not in the room, or I know he's going to put his best foot forward based on his work ethic, and I can match their mind. So I think for us, just to go back to your question, I went on.
They take the tangents.
The whole story.
I feel like I have to give a bit more to the story than
sure,
just
take it away, mate.
Just to say, this is why we did it. So me and Jai, I think, so we had that conversation. I'm like, look, this is what I want to do, but I have to have this hard conversation with my employer, because my previous employer that I was working at, because, for me, he was like an older brother to me. And I knew that was going to be one of the hardest conversations that I probably ever had. And I had that meeting with him, and he pretty much offered me, I told him I was leaving, and he pretty much offered me the half the shop, the one I was working at, the one that I did want, for half the shop for free. And as a 21-year-old at the time, it's it takes you back a bit, because financially, what that is going to do for you. I knew that I was going to potentially be pocketing, $200,000 to my pocket.
Like that.
Off the bat. And I'm at a crossroads, and deep down, the answer was already there, and I knew what the answer was, because I knew if I was to become my own man, I had to separate myself, and I had to make this hard decision, because I could think short term and be sure I could make a decision, but what's the substance of my decision? Is it purely on financials? Is it purely on a mission and building something special?
Yeah.
And that was the reason I made that decision, and then that was the reason we started Sonder.
How did your friends and family take the decision of turning down $200K?
Well, they didn't know how much.
Oh, you didn't go into detail.
I didn't unload.
Probably a safe call.
I think my friends and family trust me to make the right decision. I think some of them, I actually did have a couple of conversations, and all of them are supportive. They're all going to say, you got to make the decision that's best for you. And at the end of the day, I'm the one living my decision, not my friends and family. And if they love me, they're going to be supporting me in the best of times and the worst of times, and they always do. So I'm thankful for that.
No, definitely. And then to dive a little bit deeper as well.
Yep.
When did you first pick up the clippers? What made you want to be a barber in the first place? Was it something at school? Did you cut hairs in the garage or something like that?
In the quad.
Yeah, man. Man, it's funny because a lot of barbers go through this progression of how they first started cutting hair. If it's probably in their garage or bathroom at home, whatever it is. I first started cutting hair because I was influenced by my barber growing up, and it's actually the same as Jive. We had this one barber in DY. His name's Gabriel. Shout out to Gabriel. And he was the only one in our area doing like sharp haircuts. And when I mean sharp haircuts, I don't know if you think of like the NRL, like the Benji Marshall sort of haircuts, like the pointy sideburns, box cuts, sharp lineups, designs on the sides.
Yeah, like the louder.
Yeah, like all those really sharp haircuts. And I feel like the only people back then were getting these haircuts were like ethnics and islanders, like like the Italians in our area. It's like the Italians and the islanders, the only guys getting these haircuts. And me having that footy background, I always loved having these sharp haircuts because the guys I used to look up to, they were playing NRL, they were getting these haircuts as well. And I was originally getting my haircut from him. When I was 12 years old, I used to get my haircut every 2 weeks. I used to love having a fresh haircut. I used to see how people would feel after they would get out of Gabriel's chair. And I used to see the atmosphere he created inside his barbershop, and I was instantly drawn to that. Another main reason I got into it just was how respected he was as an individual. And I used to see how people would treat him and talk about him. And I was really drawn to that because I think for me, I always shied a bit of confidence in the sense where I felt like I didn't have respect I don't know, like I didn't have respect from so many people, whether I knew that or not. I just feel like I always had to earn people's respect. And I felt like I saw how respected this guy was, and I was just instantly drawn to that. So I started cutting hair by buying a pair of clippers, and I used to watch Gabriel's techniques that he was doing on me and replicate them to my friends and family, my bathroom at home, kids that lived down the road from me. I had a massive amount of support of guys who would want to get their hair cut off me, and I was that kind of where.
We have been doing cashies back at Vale in the bathrooms and in the quad and stuff.
It's funny. So me and one other kid, his name's Phil. He's a real estate agent. I don't know if you know him. His name's Phil Facea. But we were doing, we only did one haircut at Bally Boys, and we did this like, it was on one of the Islander boys, and we did this like arrow in the side of the guy's head, and honestly, looked fucked. And he loved it. This guy loved it. He's like, this is the freshest thing I've ever got. I go,
oh my gosh.
And I remember that's the only time I did a haircut at Bally, but oh my God, I was like just geeing everyone up to come get their haircut.
Yeah.
In my bathroom.
Yeah, for sure. But people used to cut hair at Valley like all the time in the little rooms.
It's funny because that wasn't a thing, man. When I was like learning to cut hair, like when I was 15 years old, like barbering wasn't like a cool thing like it is now. Like the industry's changed so dramatically. Like it's so different to how it is now. And it's actually amazing to see because there's so many young guys coming up now that are looking at barbering as a career pathway, and it's amazing to see because back then, like I remember in the school assembly, and they're talking about I think they're talking about careers, and like we're all just sitting down, and they're like talking about how like people going through construction, through TAFE, and they're like, oh yeah, we even got a couple guys doing hairdressing, and I'm just there going like, fuck, head down,
Don't laugh at me.
Yeah. I was like, fuck, I hope they don't point me out. Like that's how.
Look at you now.
Yeah, it's just funny, man. It's funny how it is.
So you obviously you make the decision to leave, and then so you wake up the next day. You're unemployed. You've got to, seize the day. What do you do? Like, where are you going? Are you looking out for shops straight away, or how are you trying to build this thing?
So I made the decision that I was leaving my ex employer. It was the end of 2018. I think it got to my final date was Jan 2019. We opened Sonder March 2019. So we started prepping, I think, around that December time because I gave him some time telling him I was going to leave. Straight away, it was just spinning ideas, and it's ideas of like what we want to be, what kind of shop we want to be. I think we were very inspired by a lot of barbershops overseas that, like especially in the UK, there was this core salon, like they called Men's Spine. There were these guys who were doing like education. They had these really aesthetically pleasing, like minimalistic shops, like, and we were kind of influenced by some of those shops and other shops we were looking at, and we wanted a space where, we were going to offer all these things. And because there was such a gap in the market for education, and Jai, he's the one who leads our education with our salons, and he had all these amazing ideas on how he wanted to do education, all this sort of stuff. And I think for us, we were just like, okay, we want to find out what we want to do with the shop, how we want to get it fit out. We got to find a lease. We have, like, at the end of the day, we're barbers. We're barbers, man. We weren't like businessmen or anything like that. Like everything we've done, we've just had to figure it out at the time. Like I think we're very fortunate in the sense where Jai's family, they come from like a background of like kitchens and renovations and all that sort of stuff. So I think we had a lot of help from his mother, especially when it came to like how to plan a fit out. And we had some of our mates who were tradies. Like we had Aaron, who was a Sparky, and then Cam, who was our builder. And we literally only needed those two trades, and
just fit out the place.
It was just fit out the place. And man, we were in there ourselves, just
Haircuts
like,
for
man,
life.
there's this funny picture of John, myself, on putting up the green wall, just sweating. He's like got a drill arm holding it up, like 2 meters off the ground.
Tripping
Like,
buckets, yeah.
man, just tripping buckets. And I think like, yeah, we just like played it as it came, and like we just took one step on the other. And like we were always like, we always kind of planned things. Like we weren't just winging it. We always like we always had checklists, we always had things we needed to do. And I think for us was just writing down, like to answer your question, write down a checklist. What's the number one on this priority list and what's at the bottom of the priority list? And it's funny because if you were to look at our checklist from back then to what it is now, it'd probably be completely different. Like it'd probably be like get a TV was at the top of the checklist.
Gotta get the NBA.
But
on.
yeah, like when now it's so much more structured. And having done it 4 times now, it's like you get a bit more experience and yeah, you figure it out.
What's harder, opening it up or running it?
I would say opening it up.
Yeah.
I'll say open up. We come from 2 backgrounds of being very, very good technicians. And what I mean by technicians is we're good operators inside the barbershop. I say that's probably my biggest strength, is always being a great operator, being a great barber, and performing at a very high level in what I was doing. So, and same with Jai. We started Sonder on the back of having 2 very big clienteles, being 2 really, really dominant barbers in this area. And that, for us, it was like we knew we knew once we started, it was
going to be sweat.
We're going to be sweat. And it wasn't like a lot of people always go into business. Obviously, it's scary and you're doing all these things, but I didn't really have that feeling because I was always confident in what we could achieve. And I knew what we could achieve. And I knew, like, at the end of the day, I know how hard he's going to work and I know how hard I'm going to work. And worst case scenario, we're going to make it happen. Yeah. And I think so once we did start, we like our opening day was a massive success. Our first week was even very successful. Like it was actually quite, definitely overachieved, and then it definitely retrieved back from that first week because like, fuck, this can't be the norm.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and then we're like, yeah, man, like every as we got more momentum, as we did build, it did become easier and easier. But at the start, it's like opening the shop initially. That's kind of the things we didn't know, so we found that harder.
I guess like it's obviously all good, like it's going well. You knew you're going to be confident, but there's always bad days. Do you remember any times where you're like, fuck, I should have done this differently, or any times where not that you were going to give up, but that you were like, I guess like why you needed to keep going? Like, do you have any situations that came up that within the bounds of the law?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think like there was maybe certain decisions we made like at the start where if we could go back, we would definitely change. I wouldn't necessarily put it to a decision of like, oh, like life or death, or like I can't, like my head's in my hands. Like I think the price point we started at was too low, as in like what we
charging for haircuts,
because, and the fact that we didn't start on appointments. I think if we started, because us transitioning our clients who have been with us for a long time, like that first, like we started off as charging $35 for a haircut, and our next price rise was $45. And then that first price rise we initially did was the hardest thing we've ever done. And I feel like we should never have started at that $35 price point. I think for me, I was always so skeptical about what other people were charging. We probably should have backed ourselves a bit more in that sense, because when we did make that initial jump to charge more, we did lose a lot of customers, and people didn't react to it the best. And it was even when we first transitioned to appointments, there was a lot of like pain that went into that. But like we knew that this was the business that we wanted to create, and at the back of it was that exact thing. But yeah, at the start, I feel like those 2 things were definitely something I wish we did earlier.
Yeah. And then I guess, how does that all then transition to what you're doing now? Like, did you like have a conversation being like, oh, we should actually like make this a viral hair salon? Like, how does that all that leading at the start? How long does it take you? How many years to start doing now what you're doing with the promoting and the influencing and all that? Yeah,
it definitely doesn't happen like overnight. And I feel like people will see like the sort of traction we get now, and like it's so many years of hard work of trying to like have an idea, do something, get knocked back, have another idea, and it's constantly like not getting stagnant and constantly trying to improve. And I feel like that's one of our biggest mottos is like always trying to be better than we were yesterday, and always trying to find ways to develop a better business and optimize a better business. Like when it comes to marketing, it's just like we tried so many different things, and like some things work, some things different. And I think I wouldn't say like we're trying to create a viral place. I think what our initial thought was we wanted to create a premium men's grooming salon that was a mixture of like, not like a classic barbershop, but it had like the community feel of a barbershop, but with like more of a salon vibe. And I feel like we wanted to bridge the gap with those two. So have like that premium feel when they came in, where these guys were going to receive this service that they hadn't received before, but also be backed by this amazing community. And I think because people came into that and they never experienced that before, that initial got traction, and it made them, I guess, want to tell their friends. And you know, word of mouth has always been a big thing in my type of industry, and I think that's definitely helped by not thinking about trying to become a viral shop, by delivering a great service and trying to give people a great experience. And that was the back end of that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find it's harder to do the viral stuff rather than just cutting hair, or do you really enjoy that side of it? Like, of course you enjoy it, but like, is it some days it's a bit of like a drag?
When you say the viral stuff, do you mean like just
like
the content we create?
Yeah, the content. Like, is that like you absolutely love it, and like it's what you've always wanted to do, or did you feel like it was not so much a necessity, but what you feel like you have to do in order to grow these days to separate yourselves?
100%. I think, and we're realizing that even more now, because content creation is like, honestly, like one of the most important parts of this business. And I feel like it was like what I was saying before, like we were doing all these amazing things, but like it doesn't matter if we're doing it inside our salon. If no one actually knows what we're doing, what the fuck's the point of it? Yeah. And it's like we then realized like hiring the videographer was one of the most important things we've ever done, because it made us realize that us being able to push so much content and be in front of people's faces and creating that attention and creating these systems behind it, we were able to get so much more traction than just trying to figure out on our own and just trying to do our own little posts. And it's at the same time, like our videographer actually just recently left. And then we like had to have a sit down with ourselves and feel like, well, what do we do now? We got this massive void to fill inside of our business, because we had this guy who was producing all this great content in multiple channels. And what we realized was that we have 20 plus staff. Yeah. We have 20 plus staff. We have guys who every single person has an iPhone. Why haven't we been leveraging that? And why hasn't our staff and our team collectively been pushing out content? And the reason was we've always been relying on one person to do it. And now that we've had this like light bulb moment, all our staff are now like posting so much content, and all these guys are like creating all these amazing things that we're actually getting in. Our outreach is 10 times more because of it, because there's so many masses of followers that are seeing our pages and seeing everyone's videos off the back of it. So I think we're constantly having these light bulb moments, and we're constantly trying to figure out ways to do things. But yeah, like I think just constantly trying to improve and constantly trying to do those things. That's
sure.
Yeah, certainly. So then I love how you'd also touched on like the community stuff. Yeah. From watching on socials, it seems like you have built like a massive community there. So you've got the footy tipping competition, the run clubs. Yeah. Do you think the community stuff really attributes the success of Sonder as well?
100%. 100%. Community is like a majority. It's the majority of it's the backbone of our business, because without a community, we're nothing. And having all those things like the run club and all the footy tipping co-op and having merch and all these things, this is just ways of us giving back to our community and helping us build a stronger community. I think like Sonder, like at the end of the day, we're stylists, but we don't have a business if we don't have clients, and we've got to create a community where every single person walks through that door, they're getting greeted by their first name, and they're feeling like they're a part of something. And that's something both Joe and myself always wanted to create off the back, is that feeling we give people when they walk into the door. It's not just about coming in, getting your hair cut, and that's it. It's about making someone feel confident and making someone feel like they're a part of something. And I that's always been the message driven from us to all our staff. And yeah, 100%. Like the run club, like that, like it's funny because you see all these like running now is like this massive trend.
It's the number one ad that comes up on my Insta from you guys, all of you running.
Is it?
Yeah.
mate, you got to join us. What are you doing?
I can't run at the moment. This is a problem I have. So many people telling me to join run clubs, but no.
No, it's funny though
can't run at the moment.
because the run, like if you go on your social media, you're gonna see your whole page is just like
Strava.
it's just trending.
Yeah.
Right. And like it's funny because this is something we've been doing for like we're on our 194th run club. Like every week,
for 194 weeks.
194
That's
weeks
good.
straight.
Wow, so
Yeah,
you guys,
wow.
like,
Congratulations.
Yeah, like it's always been like that great community. I know people are starting to realize how community driven running is, because it's just a great way to improve, physically and get people together and achieve something or overcoming something. And I think even for our staff, the hardest thing at the start was like, well, how do we get these guys to come to a run at 5 a.m. in the morning? And it's like, you make them realize that it's actually has nothing to do with running the 5 kilometers.
Yeah, it's just good. They can walk it.
Yeah, well, what's about? No, but when they come, it's about overcoming something or challenging the first thing of your day, and because you're setting yourself up for, what else can you conquer after doing something like that? And I feel like we're always trying to push people and encourage them to not just improve on, obviously their career inside the salon, but it's everything outside of the salon that's important as well, and the community things, and the run club is super, super important. It's been a big driver.
You guys going to do a marathon?
I've actually already done one.
You've done it?
I've done.
How was it?
It was fucked. It was fucked.
Would you ever do it again?
I would 100% do it again. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
I really want to do one.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
It's funny, man. It's actually a funny story, and I feel like I should just quickly touch up on this story because it was 2020, and I originally loved running when I was really young, and for me it was something I was always passionate about, like doing cross country at school, that sort of shit. And then it got to 2020, and I remember coming back from a holiday with my missus, and I was just like, I came back, I felt like shit. I felt like, I was just in the slumps of how I looked and how I felt, and I just thought I'd start running. And, one thing led to another. I started in the gym. My goal was to run 10K. I started on 3 kilometers. Every week I'd go up by a kilometer. So in 7 weeks, I was able to run 10Ks. And then the natural progression is going to running outside, doing 15Ks. And I'm like, fuck, if I can do 15, I can do 21. Did the half marathon. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the full marathon. Oh, wow. And I entered myself because this is the same time I was reading, I started reading Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Yeah, I don't know if you guys...
I haven't read it, but we listen to.
You don't know me,
all the
son.
time.
Yeah, you gonna carry the load.
Yeah, he's gonna carry the boat.
And I feel like that book changed my life as far as like the person I am and like the person my mentality behind training and doing something physical is so important. And I entered myself into the Sydney Marathon, and it was COVID hit, lockdown. They shut the event, and I was running with one particular guy. And me and him were like, I was like, I got to map out a 42-kilometer run around the northern beaches. And we mapped out this run. I go, okay, I'm not gonna mention his name, by the way. I'm gonna.
No, I don't get sued.
Yeah. I'm like, we're gonna run 42 kilometers, and like this guy was an animal, proper animal. He was like, he's already done like 100 Ks, and I was like, oh, can you run it with me? Because I knew this light work for him.
Yeah. And
I'm like, okay, we're gonna start at DI Beach, and I'm gonna meet you at 5 a.m. Or I'm gonna meet you at your house at 5 a.m. And I like the night before, I'm trying to get that 8-9 hours sleep, bowl of pasta, carbon up, like trying to prep for this. I'm about to run 42 Ks. I go to his house at 5 a.m. when I walk through the front door, and all his brother and all his mates are on a bender.
Oh, Jesus.
And they're all partying, and I'm looking around and I go, there's no way he's been partying. Like we're about to run a marathon.
Yeah.
And we started the marathon together, like 5:30 a.m. DY Beach. We get to 10 Ks in. He goes, oh, actually, you haven't slept.
Oh,
I go, what do you mean? What do you mean you haven't slept? He goes, oh, I've been getting on it all night. And mate, he literally did not stop for 42 kilometers, ran the whole thing. Like I got to 30, hit a wall, like both my quads seizing up, cramping, all this kind of shit. And he just ran the whole way with me. And I was like,
that's crazy.
And I don't know how many people in the world have ran a marathon off a bender.
On the whip. Yeah.
But mate, I'm not going to recommend it because I don't want anyone.
No way.
I don't want anyone dying. But mate, this guy's done it, and shout out to him. You know who you are.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Did he puke?
Not at all.
So that's even more impressive.
He's like mentally on another level. Like
you would have thought the Calvin Kleins would be good for the Mara, right?
Yeah. Did he read the book as well by David Goggins?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did read the book, but he's just mentally like, on his birthday, he turned 30 and he did like 30 laps of Manly to Shelley back. Like,
he's a sicko.
Like, so he did like 160 Ks over 2 days. Like, he's
built different.
Built different, bro. Some people are built different.
Some people, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I can not do that.
But yeah, though, so that was like, me running a marathon, I did that. I think I would love for our whole team. Well, not our whole, like, could be whoever wants to do it, but I would definitely be keen on getting all the boys in and doing a marathon.
We're doing a charity one.
Oh, nice. When's that?
October, yeah.
October.
I've dragged Zach into my...
Well, you better start getting that injury fit.
But if I can get it better, that's my caveat.
Yeah.
It was my 2024 goal.
It's a great goal.
Yeah.
It's a great goal.
I'm not doing it for free, but...
It's honestly one of the most empowering feelings. And like at the end of the marathon I did, I was honestly emotional. And I honestly felt like crying because the emotions hit and it's just such a high. And I could recommend anyone to do it. It's amazing.
And I just want to be able to go to people, just be like, have you ever run a marathon?
Because I have.
I have. Yeah, so we're doing it. But not for free. I'll do it for charity.
Nice.
Otherwise,
it's good having a purpose.
Otherwise, I won't do it.
Yeah.
I won't be motivated.
Touching on goals you just mentioned, so can you share with us some of your goals for Sonder for this year and then maybe some personal ones you've got as well? Yeah,
for sure. I think some of our goals, like we had a vision day with our whole team the other day, and I think like it's so important having guys on board and having guys explaining what your mission is and explaining where you're going as a company and having everyone on board of that, because it's just unites everyone and everyone feels like they're, it's not just what, me and Jai want, it's what we're trying to do as a collective and how we're going to get there. We need to get there with everyone. And I think some of our main goals for 2024 would be opening our Sonder Academy, which we launched at the back of our Neutral Bay location. Men's education is something we want to be, men's haircut and education is something we want to be on the forefront in Australia. And I think it's always been one of our main goals is we focus so much on it inside the salon, where now we're actually starting to run external classes and having other barbers and hairdressers come in and teach them. So I think building that inside our academy to then eventually outgrow the space and then have our own academy space. This is much bigger. I wouldn't say we potentially you're going to do that this year, could potentially be next year, but I think creating this education team where we can have also some of our stylists who are now under Jai as educators as well, and pushing that sense and pushing that direction with our business. Another goal, I guess, would be just putting ourselves out there more. And I feel like as both Jai and myself, and we haven't always been like, or felt like we've been a part of the hair industry in the sense where like always going to events and always doing things that like the industry is doing. And I feel like one of our main goals is now getting ourselves out there more, even doing like stuff like this, like talking in front of the camera, telling your story, like this, getting in front of people and network and all these things, just because you can just leverage that so hard and you can go leaps and bounds. And we think like just doing things by ourselves is always the answer, when it might not always be, because opportunities are going to present themselves at the back end of that. I think we definitely want to open more salons. I think I'd love to do like another 1 or 2 salons towards the back end of this year. I feel for the start of the year for us, like we had 4 salons and we felt like we couldn't scale at the level we're at right now. And because of our, like operationally, we didn't necessarily have the right guys in the right positions, and the systems were still so reliant on ourselves, where I think now we're trying to really focus on getting the systems in place and actually empowering our managers to give them more responsibilities. Because I think that was also another light bulb moment is as soon as we, took a little bit of a step back, we realized that, these guys are actually capable people, and they're never going to give the opportunity if you're always just shutting the door on them, or you're always like doing it yourself. Right. So I feel like giving people the opportunity, and that's always been one of our missions as well. It's like, we're trying to empower people with opportunity through like accountability and purpose. And that's always what's been our driving factor. So definitely continuing to give people opportunity, continuing to open salons. And another one is our Blak Haircare product line. We're about to relaunch that properly. We're just getting all our products repackaged, some of them reformulated. That's going to happen in April. So we're going to do a massive launch, and that's what I'm now focusing a lot of my energy into, because we're trying to build an e-com brand off the back of that. Like we're already into other salons, and even some in different states. So I think continually getting that into more barbershops, going to these shows, going to these expos, getting in front of people, pushing that a lot harder.
Would you say your passion has kind of then gone more from the cutting and more into the business side now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. I think my first goal, when I first started cutting hair, was to be the best barber in the world. That was my first goal. Like, that's definitely not my goal now. My goal, the business side is always excited me because I'm naturally not like a businessman. Like, just like those things, like me and Jai is very analytical. He's naturally quite entrepreneurial, like with the sense of him getting ideas and all those things. For me, like, I've always wanted to be, I've always been very operational, understand the business side in that sense. But like, what excites me now is doing like these things that are new to me, like creating an e-com brand. Like, that's something that excites me, and I know it's going to be challenging. And I feel like me inside the barbershop, I've kind of done that now.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was one chapter of my life where I now know that this is that next chapter. And for me to continue this next chapter, I have to disconnect from the barbershop. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Do you ever still get the anxiety that, because obviously running a business would be so tough, like even, not like we think about our jobs day to day, but they're not ours. Like, if that company goes under, like, God forbid it doesn't, pays the bills, but we can go somewhere else. So how do you disconnect from that anxiety? And I guess just, how are you not switched on 24/7, or you find you are? And if you are switched on 24/7, how do you like step back and take a break?
Yeah, I think, I don't think I ever switch off.
Yeah.
I think I'm like always switched on, and I feel like I get anxiety by overwhelming myself with so many tasks to do. And I feel like where I've lacked in the past is doing so many things at once. And I feel like my output from that is even less because I'm hurting my productivity because I'm trying to do so many things. And I get to the end of the day and I go, shit, I got to do like 4 or 5 tasks, and I'm trying to do them all at the same time. So I get anxious about things like that. So for me, it's more about managing my time correctly. And I feel like I have a mentor who was one of my long-term clients, and he's very, very he's a very high-performing individual in like the tech space, and he does conferences, speaks about thousands of people. And I asked him, how do you become a high-performing individual, and how do you manage your time? And he's got kids, he's got all these projects he's doing, and he goes, I literally timestamp every part of my day. Yeah, and he goes from the time I wake up to the time I then go to sleep, whether that's taking my kids to school, whether that's meetings, whether that's work, whatever I'm doing, I've allocated X amount of time for that so that I know that when I'm doing that task, I'm all in on that task. And I felt like for me, I was always just trying to juggle so many things at once, and I'm not really going anywhere, where now I feel like if I just focus my time on one thing at a time and don't overwhelm myself by this massive umbrella of building this e-com brand or building another salon, if I can just do step by step, procedure to procedure, task by task, that anxiety then drops from that.
Yeah, for sure. So where do you want to see it in 10 years?
Yeah, it's a great.
Just gone from not talking about being overwhelmed to talking about the
no.
future.
It's a great question because like I feel like this answer changes, and it's funny because like if you asked me a year ago, it would probably be a different answer to what my answer is now. All I know is I want us to be like the biggest men's grooming company in Australia. And I don't mean that by, I don't want to have 100 salons. I don't want to be Just Cuts. Like, I don't want to just have this F45 style of barbershops. I just want to have I want to be high performing in everything we're doing, whether that is our education. I want to be delivering the most transformative education in Australia. And I want to have the most high performing salons led by really strong teams and giving people constant opportunity. I think like, however it's going to look like, I don't know, but I just know that everything we do, I want to be putting in 100% effort and doing it to the best of our capabilities. And whatever the output is of that in 10 years' time, then that's what it'll be.
Will you always keep it centralized as to under, or will you look at like the franchising space potentially, or would you worry that if you do let go a little bit out of control because you've built up this brand, it potentially, you would find it hard to let go of that control, or it would damage?
Yeah, so So that's a great question because a year ago I would like we need to do franchise. We need to do franchise. I feel like that's just that next step where we're definitely not against franchises if we partner up with the right people. I feel like our business is so people dependent where it's not like you have a product and you just open another shop, you get someone to run it, you sell the product. For us, it's like we're delivering a service at the end of the day, and we need to have the right people. So we're definitely open to franchising, but right now we're perfecting the model. So we can't franchise until the model's 100% perfected. And we're always going to give opportunity to the people inside our business first, because I want to give these guys who have been with us from day dot an opportunity to, if they want to take it, to be able to run a salon, be able to open their own salon. But then obviously when we look at a bigger picture and want to scale, then definitely there's going to be opportunity for other people. And I feel like in the next few years, we will definitely have a better idea if we do want to do that or not. But we're definitely open to it.
And part of the education program you're running is part of that educating these barbers young, whatever they may be in their career, how to actually run their own salon.
Yeah, definitely. Being for our managers, it's like how we operate is so different to just a barbershop where guys just rock up and they go to work and like you cash up at the end of the day. For us, it's like we have an operations manual that's like this thick on like every single process and system on how to run a successful barbershop or successful salon. And this has all been done through years of trial and error of trying things. And like for us now, it's like we've made all the mistakes and we've figured out a system that works, and we've been able to replicate that system 4 times now. And every time we do have someone we are training someone, we're giving them these systems and we're giving them the education they need, because it's not just like open a shop and it's all new now. No, it's not like that at all. We're quite hands-on, and we are showing them. And a lot of these guys are seeing it by them working with us, because we're still, both Joe and myself are still cutting hair in the salon 3 days a week, and they're seeing how we operate, and we're leading by example. And I think that's always been a very very important thing for us.
Yeah, definitely. And then I saw you posted a reel not too long ago about losing some money from an account. Yeah. What happened with that?
Yeah, so I had my Facebook hacked like a couple months ago. It was like a Saturday night. I was going for a walk in Manly, and I tried to log in on Facebook, and I was logged out, and I tried to use my password. My password was working. I go, oh shit, like there's something wrong. I didn't realize I got an email from the night before saying like someone has changed your password. So long story short, like my Facebook is linked to my business account. My business account is linked to my ads manager. So my ads manager is also linked to my business cards. So what happened was we had initially a small transaction come out of our business account. And then the next day we had 11 transactions of $1,250 individual transactions come out of our business account. And we just go, holy fuck, that's definitely not our ads account pumping.
Oh no.
That's definitely not our budget. And it was roughly around $15,000. And I feel like we have guys who do manage our ads account, and they're quite switched on. So we were able to like really get onto it. It was a really tedious process and real annoying process, because that was just before the time we were opening our new Neutral Bay salon, and our whole ads account had to shut down. So we have like a way of like a marketing plan of when we first go into a new salon and how we're going to execute it, and like with ads and other sort of partnerships and that sort of stuff. And our marketing strategy was pretty much cut right down the middle because we couldn't execute that from our ads account. So it wasn't even like the money we were worried about, because I knew we were eventually going to get the refund. For us, it was like we can't market our business how we wanted to market it and have the launch we wanted to have. Yeah, but it was rattling, because it wasn't like it was $15,000 at the end of the day. It's tough. It's still $15,000. Yeah.
Did you get it back?
We got it back.
Oh yes,
that's good.
Yeah.
Quickly, we had some fan questions submitted.
Yeah.
Some of them you might not want to answer. Some might be funny.
We can cut.
We can cut as well. The first one we had was, we heard you like wearing bandanas. Would you consider making it part of the uniform?
Oh, that's a great question. Shout out to the Sonder boys, but I haven't. I'll give this. I've got nothing to hide here. I feel like, man. So back in the day, I'm saying like when I used to work at my old employer, like that barbershop in the mall. This at the time was doing a lot of festivals, and when I was going to festivals, like you get a bit, go a bit quirky with your outfits, and try.
yeah.
You can get away with trying shit.
Yeah.
So I was wearing bandanas to festivals, like the little tied up right around the forehead, and I was like, fuck, you know what? I might give this a go inside the barber shop. I feel like I can get away with it here. Why can't I get away with it there? Like inside, like in the everyday fit.
Yeah.
I see these guys in America; they look pretty cool. Like, why can't I do it? Little did I know that was one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life.
Still catching up with you,
mate. So we have a group chat in our Sonder group chat, and about every 2 weeks there's a photo of me with a bandana. Would I make it part of this uniform? Absolutely not. Would I still wear it to a festival? Yes,
yes,
I would.
you would. Yeah.
Another one, we heard there was a boat race that you did at the RSL Christmas party. What did that look like?
Yeah. So I'm obviously getting stitched up by some of my workers right now. Yeah, we had a boat race at DYRSL. It was on our Christmas party a couple of years ago. And it was, we had like 5 beers lined up. This is probably after, we've obviously had a big session.
We've all had Christmas parties.
Yeah, we're all like, this was definitely not at the start of the Christmas party. It was definitely like towards the Arvo, towards the back end of it. Like we've all had a big innings.
Yeah.
I was standing about maybe 3rd or 4th in line for our boat race, and whoever doesn't know what a boat race is, you got 5 beers. It's a relay. The first 2 people scull their beer. As soon as that person finishes their beer, and puts it on the table, the next person can go. So I was 3rd in line. We started ready, set, go. Like we were smoked. Like actually, the first 2 guys could barely fucking finish their beers. It was Ron and Antonio. They couldn't. They were like, it was honestly embarrassing. I was like, shit, like. Mate, these guys are going to finish this beer, and it got to the stage where it got to me. I smashed my beer. As soon as I finished my beer, I was not in a good place.
Yeah. Oh no, I can't scull beer. Like it just doesn't go down.
I was not in a good place, and there's a photo. I'm sure you can show the.
We'll clip
you
it.
can show the viewers.
We'll clip it.
I remember I sculled this beer, and I'm just here going, fuck, like bad head noise, and I see Antonio, who was the first person on the other team. I could see he like had some liquid in his mouth, and he's like, he literally just fucking vomited.
Projectiles.
He vomits, and that triggers me to then go. I literally just projectile vomited on the floor in the middle of DYRSL. Like there was no one around. Luckily, we didn't even get kicked out. I don't know how we didn't get kicked out, but yeah, that's the story. That's the story of the boat race.
Oh, that's good. There's probably not. I probably won't go into the other ones now, but
No.
yeah. Elliot's got some other quick fire questions.
Yes,
though.
I do.
Yep.
It's actually one.
Yep.
What's your go-to cocktail?
Oh, espresso martini.
Really?
Yeah, I'm setting the tone. I'm a coffee guy, man. I love
You
coffee.
do?
Yeah,
What's your
nice.
coffee order?
Mate, I got a couple. It depends what time of the day.
Really?
I'm starting off with a strong almond cappuccino.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably go into like an almond piccolo. And then if I'm feeling a bit frisky, I'll do a nice long black.
You'll go 3.
No, I won't do those 3 on the same day. But if I do, look, don't get me wrong. I've had days where I've had about 6-7 shots of coffee.
Bad business days, yeah.
I think growing up with my when I used to see my old man, like we'd always be going to cafes, and he'd always be drinking a latte, and I feel like from a young age I was always like having a sip of coffee.
Yeah.
That's what drew me to being a big coffee.
No oat milk though?
Huh?
No oat milk.
I've done that. Look, I'm not against oat milk. I'm
More of an almond guy.
Yeah, I'm an almond guy.
Yeah.
I'm an
And
almond
I guess before we go, thank you so much for coming in.
That's all right.
I guess is there any behind the scenes things that we can clip and promote ourselves through you? What are you working on at the moment? Is there anything new and exciting coming up that you want to share?
Yeah, I think that's new and exciting is we have. So for us, we have this Barber Expo that we're trying to launch our Blak products at.
Yeah.
I feel like for us, we need to, with just the timeline of us receiving our products to then actually being able to make the expos, we're cutting it so short. So if we can manage to get to this expo, relaunch our new products, because there's so many barbers and so many, like even barbers that already stock our products are there, but also connect with a lot of other barbers. I feel like that's definitely going to be able to push us in the right direction for this year as far as Blak. I guess personally for myself, it would be for me, it would be retracting a bit more from the salon. I think in the next coming months,
stepping back.
Yeah, stepping back.
Yeah,
I'm currently on
yeah.
3 days a week. So I would like to probably go to 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, okay.
And then really, really focus on, the business side, the Blak side, and all that sort of stuff. I feel like I can use my time a lot more effectively.
For sure.
And another exciting thing that's not related to business is we're going to Vegas next week for the NRL.
Oh, you're going?
Yeah.
Oh, where are you staying?
We're staying at the Cosmopolitan, so it's one
nice.
of the boys' Bucks parties. And
Oh, jeez, Louise.
yeah, so, man, this could be the last time.
Have you got a partner? Have you got a partner?
I do have a partner. I'm actually recently engaged.
Oh, you are?
congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Shout out to Steffi P. That's my other half.
Now, how does she feel about this, Bucks?
You know what? She's actually really good. She's actually really
Yeah?
good. I feel like
Are you sure?
I think she's had a couple friends in her ear a bit, but deep down,
Lot of head
she
noise.
she trusts me to do the right thing. And
Of course.
Yeah, of
I mean,
course.
at the end of the day, I'm going there to have a good time with my
With the
mates
boys?
and with the
Yeah.
boys. I'm not going over there for the wrong things.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Of course not. That'll be fun, but when do you leave?
We leave next Friday.
Are you a Manly fan?
I'm a big Manly fan.
You leave next Friday.
So we leave next Friday. We land Friday, and then we're gonna go get the cars Route 66 straight to Vegas.
Oh,
we then
wow.
got the NRL on the Saturday, so Friday night's gonna be a big one as well.
Yeah. Are you going to go to the UFC? Do you watch UFC?
I do watch the UFC, but I didn't know it was on that week.
It's on the Sunday. Oh, Saturday. It's after the footy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who's fighting?
There's a couple of Aussies.
Okay.
There are some Aussies on the card. It's not a good.
Yeah,
It's not a good
I didn't
one.
even realize it was on. So
But it's
if we can-
right there.
If we can get
You
the
get some last minute
yeah,
tickets.
Like we're
Yeah,
gonna
do
on
it.
the
Jump
way
the fence.
on the way back from Vegas, we're doing LA, and we're gonna go watch the Lakers play. So I'm really keen to see.
Oh, that'll be mad.
Hopefully see LeBron.
Yeah.
I'm G'd for that.
Quickly go up and give him a haircut.
Yeah, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Cover that bold spot.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
so much for coming on, man.
Thank you so
I really
much, boys.
appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
so much,
You're a good
Sam.
man.
Done.
Guys, where can they find you on socials? What's the best things for everyone to follow you guys?
Yeah, so social media is personally it's Sammy Sonder, and then we have our business page which is Sonder Men's, and then our our products line is Blak Haircare. That's BLAKHAR.
Be in the show notes. So
Amazing.
look there.
Yeah, and then also if you want education, if there's any barbers watching, we got Sonder_Academy as well.
Yep.
For all our educational content.
We'll add it all in. Practice the shit out of it.
Yeah,
Do what we do best.
Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Right back. Flex, check, flex, check, flex, check. Diamonds in my veins. Flex, check, flex, check, flex, check.